Well, calling, this meeting is being recorded by the Board of Assessors. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chair. At this time, the chair and the board reserves the right to remove or have removed any persons per Mass General Law. So call the meeting to order at 9:33. And the roll call of members, they're all here. Okay.
Is it?
Hmm?
Okay, never mind.
Now we're on to public comment.
Okay.
Public comment, no discussion or comments will be entertained unless requested upon by the chair of the board. Speaking time is 3 minutes for each person. Member of public must state their name and address of precinct. Okay. So, first order of business is to review and approve previous minutes.
I
Meeting.
motion to approve the last meeting minutes.
All in favor, I guess.
Aye.
Okay,
I'll second,
or second.
then all in favor?
Aye.
Right, okay. All right, now we're on to, new business.
Any exercise weeks for us today?
Yes.
Shocker.
Oh,
Look at that.
God.
The telephone, but
You don't really need to look at them, it's just a backup for some, if you ever have a question.
we just signed on the
But
front.
basically, yeah, that's the last month,
Okay, today is what day?
17th.
17th.
So. And this is for, total of rebates of 23,1234. Okay, and Randy, it's yours. Okay, so we're all done with the excise. Chapter land, do we still have chapter land stuff to do?
Yeah, there's chapter lands, some stuff that needed signature with the chairman of the board in here.
That they will bring receipts next week. Okay,
Just Jim needs to sign this
I
one.
think so, those are all, I think it says.
yeah.
This is the response there.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. This is for the whole board to sign. So is it granted?
Yes.
Granted. All. Okay.
Just be signed by the chairman right here.
Yes. Okay. Take that one. Not sure where this is. It's all Forester stuff. Those were owners. Is it this page?
So there, okay, I guess not, I don't understand that, so don't worry about it then. For that one.
Well, Chuck needs to sign.
Yeah, okay, right.
Just the first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a little behind with all that stuff. We do have some exemptions, but none that really, I think, that are qualified. Yeah.
And 1818A. I think I revised that and sent it around. Okay, I can't remember.
If I, you know.
Oh, yeah. We will explore reaching out to the DOR and the BLS for guidance in this regards. Permanent, permanent deferrals and, city getting paid back. Right now, 18A has 3-year. 18 is an indefinite deferral. And at the end of the time when the property passes to a new owner or the owner passes, what happens?
Time of sale, 18%.
Hmm?
Time of sale, interest tacked on of the deferred payments in 18A. 18 would be 3-year regular deferral. Gotcha.
18A, that's not the way it's written.
Oh,
There's no repayment. That's the weirdness.
Well, anyway, let's get to the highest level here.
Was
since we're
18 or
not-
18A?
With 18.
Yeah.
Right, with 18, right.
Yeah.
We've discussed this at like every board meeting. So what is the actual thing that's happening today?
Nothing other than, I think we need to reach out to the DOR, DLS.
With our latest draft?
With our latest.
They don't need to approve.
They don't need that.
You approve it.
What we need to ask the question about. So if there are these permanent deferrals, how does the town get paid?
Okay. All right.
Is that something you want me to do or?
No, I think that's just, with just an 18, we don't get reimbursed. It comes out of the overlay,
But,
and that's how it's up for, but there's no payback. It's forgiven. If we grant
Well,
an 18, then that's what we've been doing with these $1,000 exemptions. We've basically been granting them $1,000 that we don't get reimbursed for.
yeah, that isn't that 18A?
No, that's 18. 18A is the deferral.
Deferral for 3 years.
Right.
And 18, well,
And
we,
18, we're also adhering to the 3-year rule for the 18, but that's what we've been doing. We have granted some, for instance, that one that we granted earlier in the year was for the 6th year. And we're sending a letter along with anyone that's applying this year to let them know that it's a 3-year time limit and that this is going to be the last year.
And we already approved that
yeah.
policy, and so there's nothing else to be done on 18A right now.
And I don't think so, but
Did you review it? You're talking about 18A and there's an IGR. Does that maybe have the information that you might be looking for, the answer to your
I'm
question?
not sure. I'll check though.
So let's, you can review that and then we'll
Okay,
leave it on the agenda for now, but I think that Chuck is right. I think for the most part, we have our policy and
yeah.
I think we're to that, end of the
Yeah,
discussion.
I think the thing that triggered my concern was that in 18, you can, get them off the hook for taxes in total,
Yes, you could do more than 1,000.
right? And if you do that, where that's a big hit, the $1,000 is not as problematic as an infinite
4,000
stream
or
of
4,500 or
4,000 a
something
year.
like that, right?
Yeah. And I think we ought to have some clarification on it. And it may well be that we'll just continue to do the $1,000. So
And maybe we should write that into our policy, have that part of it, that our policy has been, not to do a full exemption or,
Right.
something with the language is saying, okay,
good
we're
idea.
thousands,
Okay.
could keep that in there.
Okay. I mean, full exemptions. Okay, I'll take care of the update on that chapter 18A. Okay, old business, calendar timeline. Date on assessor being met for this shouldn't be October, it should be
Oh,
December.
yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I didn't either, darn it.
It's okay. Okay, do we have the calendar, the timeline? I guess the issue is,
The timeline is just the year end stuff.
right,
So we don't need it because I know right now we're trying to do the billing.
okay,
The billing's the most important thing, getting that ready and get out. It's a challenge with
that's,
people and working with the consultant.
Yeah.
It's all on me right now.
That's-
Even shouldn't be here.
that's real estate and
Dealing with
EPP.
that. Yeah, real estate and personal property. There might be a hiccup with the personal property because I was supposed to contact them like a month ago and let them know that we have new software, but with everything going on, it was something that fell through the cracks and I didn't do.
Okay.
So it might be that we're not going to be able to get out the personal property bills in time. I'm actually at my phone right here and David is here in the office today. If the phone rings and it's them getting back to me on this, because I opened up a case and I've been, trying to push buttons for like the last 4 days or last half of last week and so far this week. To get somebody to call me back and not,
This is the Munis stuff.
Munis stuff, right? So their staff people are like, oh, here, you got to contact them and it takes a month.
Okay,
And it's like, I can't see how it can take a month to build, or, maybe you would know better about it. It's like if we have other communities that have RRC and Munis, then all the work is already done.
So
We just got to copy and paste onto our programming or whatever, in my opinion, but
would you summarize that, due to some IT challenges, personal property bills might come out a little bit late?
yes. And so they have to come out for the fourth quarter. And so the whole bill in the fourth quarter, so we don't want to do that, and I'm working on it. That and the other, the other billing. Adam was helping me enter some of the exemption information that we have to, because we have to do the exemptions and betterments and water sewer liens, all these other things that need to be added to the bills. And make sure that they're in there and correct. So also I&E fees, and given expense, and that stuff's on our end. So, once we get all that done, then it's preparing for mailings. So the form of lists, the 3 ABCs and the I&Es are gonna be going out. And so, that's what we'll be doing once we get the bill file straightened out. I just kind of, this morning, got in contact with an IT person from Patriot and did what we call the year-end roll. So basically kind of setting, this is our values and this is how it's gonna be for fiscal 25 and then starting fiscal 26. Part of that's going to allow me to create the PDFs of the property record cards in a timely manner this year so that they're available on January 1st in the GIS and not February 20, whatever, or however long it was last year. So I'm trying to stay on top of that. Despite obvious challenges, but that's one of the things I want to make sure is there and available. So, yeah, office wide, really, that's the main thing that we've got going on. It's just getting the billing out, closing out the fiscal year, which I've already done. And preparing for mailings.
And RRG,
December 1st was, pardon me?
was going to the next thing.
Yeah, RRG, David still, he hasn't heard back from Josh yet, or he's gonna talk to him on Thursday about where we are in the cyclical review process. And how much has been done and the data entry and everything, because it's going on like a year, right? It was over a year that we had sent out questionnaires, because it happened in like October of last year. So they should be done by now, I would hope, or at least, 75 or 80% along. I got the paperwork so that we can start advertising for another.
Great.
And that's the next goal as far as staffing goes, is to get someone else in so that we can start training them and be in a better position when it comes time for, we'll start talking about budget. That also means renegotiating contract and see, how much dependence on outside sources that we're gonna lose.
But I'd like to see in future, if you didn't have so much to spend so much time on all these IT challenges. Right, so maybe if we had a clerk, then maybe Adam could take on some of these IT munis challenges.
Yeah,
Next time.
yeah. Yeah, because that's other stuff I'm not, since you only just started,
Yeah.
Just come back every day so far.
Adam, how come you're not doing everything, buddy?
But yeah,
Tell me.
yeah, I think it would just, it's not the right time to train them on on the actual billing process.
Mhm.
What he can do to help, yeah, but not that, everything, because eventually, yeah, he's gonna be able to do that or should be able to. We got another motor vehicle, billing that has to go out too. And so I gotta talk to them, everything. It's always now with, the challenges in the collector's office, it makes everything more of a challenge. So, we're doing our best to deal with it and, stay up.
All right. Gonna move to the next one then?
Yeah, but going back to the assessor office operations, we need to schedule the assessor night for 1:15.
I did yesterday. I talked to Hope because I was going back and forth with her. Another thing, as well as exemptions, is also the senior tax work-off program. I was verifying a couple of the addresses that they were being applied to with her, and we started talking about it. And I told her, yeah, it was the 15th, so we're scheduled for the 15th at 5 o'clock.
Okay, we need to be on the city calendar though.
Yeah, okay. It should be on theirs, but on
Oh,
Council on Aging's calendar is what I'm
okay.
saying. But yeah, I know what you're saying. So the
Yeah.
calendar, yeah, we'll have to make sure that we put something on there.
Right.
Maybe that's something that we'll send an email to Matt about, and he's the one that would.
Okay.
He said 5 o'clock?
Yeah, 5 to 6, because we don't want to interfere with the setup of the council meeting, because there's different things that they come in to do to set up for.
So Jim, you had sent out a calendar blocker for that, but you had 5:30.
Yeah, and we switched it
Yeah, we
to
switched
5,
it.
because we didn't want to go for an hour, so yeah, you'll have to update.
So I can update it.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you don't want to cut people off at 4, or if they
Yeah,
need it like basically 15 minutes, I think, 15 or 20 to get all
the stuff
Yeah,
arranged.
yeah, exactly, all of the surveillance or whatever stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
We also want to talk about the Camilleri article, but let's save that.
Yeah, and you jumped ahead. The assessor's night is item 6.
Oh,
We just
okay.
finished item 3.
Okay.
We need to do item
that was the
4.
RRG report, right?
Right. Okay, so valuation capture and the growth. Efforts to improve the personal property database,
Yeah, that's old news.
Yeah, it kind of is.
so we don't need that. Forwarding the list of new businesses to the clerk's office.
Okay, we can talk about that.
Um,
Or yeah, I've got the list of businesses.
Yeah, we have,
Did we talk to Kathy about that?
no, not yet.
So that's an idea. I will talk to Kathy about it.
Okay, great.
All right, well, the next items are, the next 4 items
It's
are all
also says,
Susan.
part of this says meet Susan Wografik to discuss, and I think that she is in attendance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so all the rest of these valuation, all these 4 points are all just the Susan thing.
Well, 3 points plus an extra bullet.
All right, and I'm gonna share some notes that Susan and I did together.
Okay.
Susan, can you hear okay?
Yes, I'm here fine. Thank you.
There we go.
Maybe Susan, you wanna start by introducing yourself and Housing Greenfield and then this
Mhm.
project?
Yep. Okay. Hi, I'm Susan Morgaftic. I live at 45 Forest Avenue here in Greenfield. And I coordinate a community advocacy group for housing that's called Housing Greenfield. We've been around for about 4 years. We've been active in working on supporting the Wilson's project, the Well Street project for supportive housing. And we've worked with a number of other things. We attend a lot of zoning board and planning meetings to ensure that housing works for the community as a whole. And we've also been involved in state advocacy around various funding sources for housing. And we also have worked in support of those who are providing services for unhoused neighbors as well. In the process of doing all this work, we came to realize that there is no numbering system for all of the apartments that in rental units in the city. We had wanted to do a mailing or some other kind of way to get information about tenant rights to people who are renting, and found that we couldn't figure out how to do it. And that led to checking with various offices in the city and finding out that there really was no central, clear registry of rental housing. This relates to two things. One is that we would like to do a short-term rental ordinance, and it's very hard to do that when you don't know how many rentals there are in the city. And the other thing is that we also found that we weren't sure that all the information that everybody had was accurate. So we got a small grant from Citizens Housing and Advocacy to do a door-to-door analysis of rental units. And in that analysis, we're going to be looking at the addresses that are available, how many electric meters there are for the building, and checking whether they are owner occupied in reality or not. And trying to get a sense, we figured that we're going to be able to do maybe 3,000 units over the course of 4 months. We've hired a student from GCC to work with us on that and do it for 20 hours a month. Chuck and I have met and talked about what we're talking about are the apartments in 2 to 8 family housing. We are not looking at the big apartment buildings. We figure we can get that. They're more transparent. We can get the information from them more easily, and you've probably got better information. And part of that is that we also wanted to get information back to you from the folks who are living in the housing about what they're paying for rent and how many bedrooms there are in the apartment, which is something that's on the list here. So I'm going to stop and let Chuck kind of go through the documents so that you get an idea of what we're talking about.
So I want to separate this into 2 parts. So the one part is Housing Greenfield and the grant they've obtained and the project that they have. And that's what's shown here at the top. And you can see that Susan is hooked up with a tenants' rights organization. The goals of Housing Greenfield in that organization, as Susan said, include rental units of 8 and less, including multiple houses. And just collect, are there really that many apartments and which ones are owner occupied, and get the actual unit numbers. So in our assessing database, we do have these land use codes. So we know which buildings are 2 families and so forth. And in Patriot, presuming the information is accurate, it even says exactly how many units and like what floors they're on. So that's all in our Patriot database.
I don't know if it's just the floors, so it tells it how many floors the building has.
Yeah. But
Okay, I guess.
it has the number of
Okay.
units.
Told me to split hairs.
But what we don't have is simply the unit numbers, the designations, 2A, 3B. And I did a little research on this in the past, and apparently there's no rules. So if a landlord or even a tenant wants to call the 3 units on their property red, yellow, and green, 27 Jones Street, apartment yellow,
Yeah, true.
they can do that. So we don't have any of that information, and in particular for the tenants' rights information, that therefore you can't communicate with those units because you can't mail them anything. If you don't know what
That
they're,
sort of ties into the census data too, because these are questions that I often get from Quinn in the clerk's office is, hey, I'm having someone and they're trying to say that they're here. You know, what do you have for that? And I don't know. And so,
well, there's
well, it's a
8
two-family.
apartments there.
It's a two-family, but we
Yeah.
call it 20 whatever street.
Yeah,
And okay, well, it's 20 and 22, is it 20 and 24, is it 20, I don't know.
2A,
And
2B.
and we don't have that info, I should guess, actually, that would be something you could maybe incorporate in with a cyclical review.
Well, we don't need to because Housing Greenfield got a grant to have a kid run around town. You get it.
How big is the
And
grant?
so once we have the information, we can enter it into the
It's-
building notes or something like that,
If we want to,
if we have staff and time.
yeah, or I mean, it's not necessary that our database includes all of
Yeah,
it.
but as long as we have one that we could reference, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be ours.
So that's an item. Go ahead.
Susan, how big is the grant?
The grant is only $1,500, but we think that based on other canvassing that we've done, that we can probably hit 3,000 units. We don't, considering that we're talking about, less than 1,000 buildings overall. We're not gonna hit everything, but we're gonna try to do it. I'm gonna, this is very experimental. And CHAPA may give us a second grant if the first one works. So this is not something that we necessarily have to stop at this time. We may have to train a new student, but that's a different question.
So
Can Eric Twarok set standards for uniform numbering of?
what are you saying?
That's a larger project, you know.
Why would you
do that?
What, I'm sorry, what?
What are you suggesting?
Oh, come on, will you? I mean, look, you go into an apartment building,
Inspector
one, huh?
and probably the 911 system if we were gonna go.
Which I don't see us changing the world and
No, no.
making landlords change unit numbers.
Yeah, because you can't, yeah.
Why not?
Because, well, first off, there's no need for that. They can call them red, yellow, green if they want, as long as we have them on a list.
That's changing of all of the tenants' bills. They gotta contact
Yeah.
MasterCard and Visa now.
Crazy.
I'm now apartment this, now I'm apartment yellow, because there's a color code thing that has been
Yes.
instituted in the, you know, that there's.
That's a guess. We, I mean, if you're hitting a credit card, they don't ask for the apartment number.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they gotta get the mailing to you.
Well, how does, well, then what does the post office say about,
This is what I researched.
They're all, yeah.
and what did you
It's a
find?
free.
This is what's the fascinating thing, that any person can submit a change of address to the post office when they move into an apartment.
Sure.
And the destination address can be anything that they say. And the postperson, will try and locate that address when they're delivering. And if they locate it, you get the mail. So the post office does not enforce any rules on what those are. The city does not enforce any rules, and landlords themselves, honestly, it's up to the landlord and the tenant what they want the unit number to be. Now, presumably, a lot of these unit numbers are, there's a piece of, something on the door that they don't want to spend money to change. But anyway, so the only thing we want to do here is just to document it.
No, I understand. But I was just asking whether there can't be some standardization in terms of apartment designation.
Sure.
I mean,
Anything's possible.
If it was anything like that, I would assume that everything else would be grandfathered and just be going forward.
well, that's okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're never gonna get out of the mess unless we start to get out of the mess.
But we don't have to, there's no mess to get out of. If we just document what all the unit designations are, then that's it.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, I'm not gonna.
but it's a start anyway. And
But
we can see where we go after that.
Okay,
anyway, the point is though, that all the stuff we just talked about is a housing greenfield project. That's
mhm,
not unrelated to us.
Mhm.
So the next part, and this is the part that's relevant for this meeting, is a potential partnership between our office and Housing Greenfield related to this effort. And by partnership, it's a two-way street. There are things that we could do for them, things that they could do for us.
Can you scroll down?
Yeah. So what would we want? What would help us? Well, Randy was just saying, maybe we would like to know what floor each apartment is on. Maybe we would like to know if any of the apartments are accessible. Maybe we'd like to know the number of dedicated parking spaces. This is all zoning relevant. And the number of electric meters.
You keep saying maybe.
Yeah, this is all just a proposal. This is not written in stone. So this is just an idea. So maybe we would like to know those things. But more importantly, I think that it might be even more useful to us and assessors to know how many bedrooms are in each of these apartments. Because that affects their value.
Some of that is captured in the I&E information, the income.
It's supposed to be
It's reported.
reported. So that's the juicy part of this.
And it's also contained in the Canvas system.
Should be.
It is,
The rent?
yes.
So what we could do here is if in addition to the flyer that the tenants' rights flyer that Susan was talking about, if we could put a postcard with it that a person could send back if they wanted, someone who lives in that apartment, and they could say what their unit number is, just so we know what they're talking about, and they could verify the number of bedrooms and the monthly rent. And we could see if our camera numbers and the INEs are matching what the tenants are saying, which could potentially be a very significant source of income for us. Because if those INEs are old, not updated, not accurate, and the new numbers are much higher, then the values would all go a lot higher, and that would be a vast amount of new growth. And we were talking at our last meeting about wanting to do something like that. And this seemed like a very easy way of doing that. Huh?
I don't think it would be difficult.
Well, if it wasn't taxed before.
Yeah, but it's,
If I could just add here, I have been doing a home meal delivery for Stone Soup. And in that process, I have gone into buildings that I know were two-family houses at one time at least, and have found that some of the apartments have been broken up into what look very much like SROs. I don't know if that happened with any kind of building permit, or if it is something you know about, or it has just been ignored, and if there was any kind of home inspection done on this.
SRO?
what's an SRO?
Single room occupancy. So it is, if you
A
take
rooming,
a
Yeah.
kitchen that's next to a dining room, you make the dining room, use the dining room wall to connect up to, you have a sink, a small refrigerator, and a hot plate, and you then make that room into an apartment. Though I have been in those places, I know that they exist. I don't know if they are registered with you or not. And I don't know if, so that there's potential here for both housing violations, and there are also questions about whether houses are being assessed properly. So
Yeah, the
part of-
INEs.
So part of what we want to do is also give that information to you, to the health department, to whoever, and say, this is what we found. We don't know if it's legit or not legit, but we thought you should know about it.
So, and even, and Adam was just telling me that in fact, it's not new growth, but it would still be more money.
Yeah, it'd be more value and it would help reduce tax rate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which would
because
be a
of
good
the
thing.
nature of it, yeah, it wouldn't be new growth.
Right.
Because it would just be an enhancement, it'll change a grade or depreciation.
Yeah, but what happens if you do what Susan is mentioning? You had a two-family, and now all of a sudden you have 4 units in it because of
Yeah,
SRO.
Well,
Wouldn't that be new growth?
Mm,
I'm suggesting,
Changes in valuation wouldn't qualify as new growth. You'd have to physically add something onto it. So a large addition would qualify as new growth. A new residence that you build up would count as new growth.
Okay.
Anything that you're changing valuations, whereas you're saying, hey, we need to bring this in-house, change our rent tables, and we're gonna thus change the valuation of the property, that wouldn't qualify as new growth.
Okay.
But what if we believed that there were 2 apartments there and now there's 8 SROs there? So that had been rebuilt. It just wasn't captured. Now we capture it.
That would be as new growth.
That sounds like new growth. And that's what Susan's talking
That's what I
about.
was asking.
Oh, apologies. I thought you were
Okay.
talking about like the differences in, yeah, if we discover something that was not previously there, new growth.
And that's what Susan's saying. That, and I've heard this from many people, that there's actually not 1, not 2, but hundreds of cases like this. Because there are some unscrupulous landlords that, as people do, trying to make more money, rents are very high these days. If you can make more units, SROs or any other kind, you make more money. And the permitting process, maybe they don't do that. So we don't have that information. In any case, these are all speculation.
Yeah.
But since she's already got a person who's going to visit each and every one of these things, she could drop off a postcard, and if the person who lives there is like, yeah, I'm in a 1-room SRO, and maybe there's 8 mailboxes there. We thought there was only 2. We get back 8 postcards. Now we know something we didn't know before. So that's where I was seeing is kind of a synergistic effort here.
Yeah.
But their project doesn't encompass that scope, right? Their scope is they just want the unit numbers to give out the flyers.
Right.
So if we want to know the number of bedrooms and the monthly rent, it would be great for our INE to know that. We need to put in a postcard that they can mail back to us. So what would need to happen in order to do this partnership? Well, it's a 2-way street. So what they could use from us, they could live without it, but what they could use from us is just a fresh database pull of land use codes, parcel IDs, addresses, right? We do that all the time. Just punch out a standard report. And it would be great if that report could include what the CAMA system thinks is the number of units and number of bedrooms, so that they have something to check against. And I believe in the past, we've estimated whether these are owner occupied by looking at addresses of the mailing address of the bills. So in any case, whatever of that we can provide, just a spreadsheet as we do. I mean, I have one that I made from the fiscal year 24 posting.
I just have a quick question. Susan, how married to that 8 number of units are you? Just because the way that the state classing works, we got a state class for 4 to 7 units, and then we have a state class for 7 to 12. So 8 kind of exists in that place where you might be talking about a 112, you might be talking about a 111. It'd be fairly easy to get you.
That's not a big issue for us. What we're trying to do is not do the larger apartment buildings because we don't think that they are going to give us the kind, they are, I think you probably already have good information for them. It's because they're large and they're connected. We're looking much more at the apartment buildings that where something has been converted or it's owned by it's owned by a landlord who has multiple properties and is likely to not be taking care of them really well. So 7, 8, I'm open to whatever number makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it would help if we could provide that spreadsheet. And what I don't know is whether it's easy to have a report that includes the number of units and number of bedrooms. If Patriot has that at the standard report.
Number of bedrooms, yes. Number of units, no. Because it's going to pull that state class info. So I can get you 111. So say it pulls it, here's a 112. It's going to get you the number of bedrooms. It's not going to tell you the amount of units in it. So it'll be somewhere between, we think, 7 to 12 or 4 to 6. It'll have the bedroom count, but it won't be able to get you, this is a firm, how many units are in it.
So we got what we can get. And then the other thing that we would need to do for our own benefit here is we would need to create this postcard. So we would have to print it, collate it, and staple it to the flyer and fund the return postage.
A question about logistics. The mailboxes are the PO's property. How are we going to get information to the tenants?
We will, we're going to buy this, this is rudimentary stuff, but we're going to buy, uh, clothesline clips, and we're going to put we'll put all the information attached to the outside of the post, of the mailbox, not the inside.
Okay, I just wondering.
So yeah, so the ask from us is give Susan and Bella a spreadsheet and create these postcards, these 3,000 postcards, and staple them to their flyer. And pay for the return postage.
I'm so certain that that is something that we don't have in our budget for fiscal 25, but as we're creating our budget for 26, we can talk about adding it in.
Yeah, well, this is gonna happen in February 25. But
Don't have the funds for it.
yeah, but we can try and make it happen. I mean, it's not gonna be $9 million. Probably gonna be, I don't know, $500, right? RRG does this already, like our questionnaire, right? We send out a mail back questionnaire. It's the same thing. It's actually probably cheaper and easier than that. So,
Well, maybe we find out how much.
Or
our
you just get
expense
whoever
on
the data collector is at the end of the month. Hey, what'd you find? It's just instead of the tenant mail and stuff, or that way we don't do mailers, I can get with whoever's going out to the doors, be like, hey, what's your report on each of these houses? Just grab all.
right, but they don't know what the rent is.
That's fair. All right.
Yeah, that's what we.
Outside the scope of what they do.
We really want is the rent.
Understood.
Because there are many of us who speculate that the reported INEs are very, very false.
So we create our own rent tables. Understood.
Well, this raises an issue that has been bugging me. And that is, all of the INE and any report we get from a property owner is signed under, penalties of perjury.
Mhm.
And some of the large landlords, who may not, be very accurate, we ought to, I don't want to say get them, but I think what we need to do is alert the landlord community as to what we are doing and suggest that if they haven't updated their records properly, that they should, because,
We send the IMEs out every year.
yeah,
One of the things that we'll be doing is assessing the penalties for the places that don't send it back. So
okay.
for like the smaller apartments, it's $50. For larger businesses, it's $250. But historically, they just don't give us the information. They don't care to or whatever. I don't know if we could find out or have someone doing internet searches on rents and that type of thing.
They just send, the tenants can just send back the postcards. And in fact, I would not tell them we're doing this. Because they will tell all the tenants not to do it. They'll go through and throw all the postcards away. We should do it first and then let them know what we did do. And then we could scare them into giving us good numbers.
All right, it really doesn't matter to me how it gets done, but I'd like to see us have accurate and verifiable numbers.
It's great to talk about this project, but we're staff challenged and
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
how we're ever gonna get any of this done. So we're already.
what you mean, dealing with the postcards when they come in?
Well, part of it would be examining the INEs and seeing what information that we do have to start with, I would think.
Well, that would be something we could do later. Right now, it's, the ask is just to collect it. If we just put those postcards out there, that's all we have to do. Just put the postcards out there. Bella will put them on everybody's mailbox for us. And then let's see what happens.
well, why don't we take a look at the INEs first? And see what we have for information.
Well, like Randy was saying, that's a big effort.
Okay, it's a big effort. Let's grab 50 of them and start there and see what we see.
Okay. Anyway, what I'm asking for here, and you can tell me that I'm advocating, I think we should be doing this. We should make these postcards. We should staple them to Susan's flyer and good things will happen. That's what I'm suggesting. And if you want help going to Stephen or Ginny and asking for $500 or whatever it's gonna take,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
3,000 postcards.
See what it,
Yeah.
comes from with some other, funding source.
It's not gonna be,
That we don't have it in our budget.
it's not gonna be $1 million.
But it's also something, the output of this we can share with other departments in the city, right?
Yeah, like the permitting.
And so we won't be able to really do anything until after the student has gone out and done
That's right.
their however many to 3,000, so.
And then whatever we get back, I mean, maybe we'll only get back 20 of these things. Who knows? We don't know how many are gonna come back.
So we've got some time to maybe try and put some other information together too. So it sounds like it's something that needs to stay on the agenda, but like what we need to work toward or figure out.
If I can just give you our timeline, we will be starting the project in February, and we'll be doing it probably late February, March, April, and May.
So you're not saying that the student is going to be handing out the postcards, right? They're going to go out in the field, they're going to give us back some information, then we'll do the mailing once we have the information back to them.
No, the student will be, if we staple the postcard to their flyer, the student will be putting that flyer on everybody's mailbox, including our postcard. So we're not mailing postcards out. We're providing that the postcard says that you can return it for free. That it's one of those automatic return postcards. What do you call it? Business reply mail or whatever.
Repaid?
Yeah, prepaid postage.
Yeah, don't know what that's.
Well, I mean, that's how we did the surveys, right? The questionnaires.
I don't. It's done by RRG.
Yeah.
Well, let me talk to RRG about it.
Yeah, see how they did it.
Yeah.
But
So who's gonna do that?
talk to RRG.
Yeah. Would you?
Yeah, I could call somebody, who, David or something?
So David.
Okay. So. So that's the RRG mailing costs.
Remember, we're not mailing it, it's just the return postage.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you'll do that?
I can call David. I might just go down and see him right now.
Yeah. Okay, when we're done. Great. Okay. Anything
And-
else?
Well, yeah, and can we give Susan the spreadsheet in early February?
I need to know what you're looking for.
That's what we wrote down here.
It's a public records request, really.
Well, we just want to know, it says right here,
Put together the information you're looking for.
Right here.
What I can do.
here it is.
The question is, the information in response to a public records request public?
I'm not sure.
It is.
I think so. yeah.
It becomes public. But we don't have to do that. We can just print the spreadsheet. Or not print, PDF it, or
Well, it.
Provide it.
Yeah, we can provide it, but is that,
I mean, I already have a spreadsheet, but it just doesn't have the number of units on it.
no, but the information that we get, the spreadsheets that we have is for internal use only. It's not public
It's not-
information.
It is public. It's in every property record card.
Depends on what I'm giving you. I don't consider it public information. And it's not for you to disseminate to the general public.
If it's on the property, if it's on the property record card, isn't it public?
You know, how do we find
Whether
this?
there's a report that it's available with that information or whether it has to be created.
How do we get resolution on this? Is this a Quinn thing?
I guess.
I mean, remember, I went ahead just as a citizen and I took the spreadsheet that's on our website. And I was able to produce a report with all this stuff except for the number of units.
Okay, well, that's.
I already gave that to
the
Susan.
counter report?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, well, that's public.
Yeah, so the only thing that's not in there that we could use is the estimate of the number of units.
Veterans.
If veterans we have, them, yeah. So, and again, those are on the property record cards.
Well, all this tells me is we need to get Quinn here to talk about open meeting law as well as records requests.
Okay.
So,
So we can request to have someone from the clerk's office attend the next meeting.
yeah,
Okay, so that's this topic.
okay, Ken, you mind doing that? Or Randy?
I'll do it.
Okay. 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 Meeting law and public rec and records requests. Okay. All right. Anything else on
No.
this?
Susan, anything else?
No, when is your next meeting?
I think it's gonna be in January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
23rd, it was gonna be the 23rd or something. I know 2 weeks from now.
Yeah,
Look at the calendar and see if it's
So-
on there. I don't know.
December, January.
Susan, you might have mentioned, is it a state agency you got a grant from?
7th.
Out of curiosity?
No, it's not a state agency. It's
Okay.
a private nonprofit.
It did say actually, yeah,
I know
January
a couple guys
7th
with the
is
state, but.
January
It's on the
7th.
agenda too, yeah.
Yeah.
January 7th.
Seven?
January 7th is our next meeting.
January 7th, okay. I would just like to attend that meeting to find out what you decide, and we will work accordingly based on what we have from you.
So,
Sounds good.
okay, so the agenda item is to discuss what we found. Is that it?
Just progress.
Yeah, progress, okay.
Thank,
Okay.
thank you very much for considering this, option. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Sure.
thanks for you and Chuck bringing it forward. Give him a hell, Harry.
Do my best.
Okay, see you later, Susan.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Council relations, expanding exemption qualifications. I think we took care of this. We did not expand any of the exemption qualifications.
Well, we have a proposal that we just have not provided to the Ways and Means Committee.
So we need to contact them and get in on one of their meetings so that we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So we can adopt it prior to fiscal 26 beginning.
Okay. So that means we need to schedule time with them and we need to have the materials.
Yes.
Hmm. And Chuck, I think you've done a lot of work on that. Is that right?
Yeah, I created the slide,
Yep.
which we've all looked at a number of
And have
times.
we run the numbers on that?
Yeah, Randy
all of
said
them?
that it was negligible.
Right, that's right. This is the expanding, dropping
Yeah,
the age
yeah, the
from
amount of-
67
yeah.
to 65.
Yeah, that's not gonna
Okay,
be any big bump in the road.
okay. All right, that's great. And then the educational outreach,
You talked about the assessor's night scheduling.
that's it.
Yeah, yeah, I scheduled it for 5 on the Council on Aging. Most important calendar, but I'll be talking with Matt about getting it on the city
City
calendar as an official event and maybe doing a little bit of promotion.
Yeah.
Or some type of public
Well, I think,
release of information.
yeah. Well, with respect to the promotion, certainly, promoting through the normal channels with Matt is one thing. I'm just wondering whether we can't fold that into this Camilleri article we've been talking about, because
Yeah.
the
we
tax
wanna,
rate,
Yeah, we want to, put a blurb to promote it at the end of the article.
right? But, I don't, has there been a consolidated article that talks about The tax rate is set, the impact on bills, the new growth. And new growth, relates to some compliance issues about business certificates and building permits, stuff like that.
No.
So maybe I can work up an agenda or a couple of, a bunch of bullet items that might be worth discussing with Anthony to try to get an article that, grinds the axe.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take care of that then. Okay. I think that's
I'm gonna
it.
make a motion to open public comments, or should we bother since there is no public attending apparently? I don't have Ryan or Stephanie.
No. All right, so let's pass on that public comment. All right, the next meeting dates, we have
Yeah,
the seventh
January
to 21st. Should we go out to February?
I think we're good for now, and then we can figure that out. Hopefully when we have more staff.
Okay, well, I've got something for February 4th, so just to let you know.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
You want to put that on in the minutes? The next meeting is, January 7th, 21st, and then February 4th.
So I thought you just said you couldn't make February 4th.
I didn't,
You want to add February 4th to the next meeting?
yeah, I have it on my calendar,
Okay,
but that's,
I'll add it to the agenda.
okay, great,
We'll get it on.
fantastic. Okay, do we have executive session?
Not really. We haven't had the chance. We've just been receiving them with Adam starting brand new and
Okay.
The bill, the chaos in the collector's office taking, most of my time. So that's one of the things that we will be doing and we'll have ready for the next meeting. At
Okay,
this point, it's not gonna make a difference because it's gonna have to be manually entered. It's not gonna go in with the export that we're doing currently.
Okay.
So
so with that, no executive session?
we also have other chapter and stuff that is the same thing. It won't be the end of the road. We have some applications, but we haven't verified that they're filled out accurately according to the information. So we're gonna do that too,
Okay,
or get to the point where we can qualify all of these.
okay,
But yeah, right now we're just, we haven't gotten there yet.
all right. Is there anything that Chuck and I can do to help?
Not that I can think of, not right now. I just need to get a call from Munis and proceed with the real estate.
I'm just, as an FYI, I'm getting back on the ASR stuff. I was.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, okay, so I think that's it. Do I hear
Motion to close.
All right, I'll second.
a motion to close public comment or what?
Sure.
Or adjourn?
Adjourn the meeting.
I think
Okay.
adjourn, yeah, because we didn't really open
Right.
public comment since no public was present.
Okay, so we're adjourned. eh?
Okay, all in favor, yes.
And
Aye.
30.
Okay, 10:30.
Hey, that's the
Okay.
best time we've done yet.
Right, thank you.